the technical malfunction. By the way, we do have a chat box. So if you guys want to chat, you can throw a little chat up here if you have a question for me, and I'll be able to answer it that way as well. All right, so let's get our meeting kicked off. And I know you guys are super duper busy. I know you guys have a lot going on, so I appreciate you taking your time to hang out with me. This is what I'm here for, to be your success coach and make sure that you guys get to your ultimate success. So I'm going to have more of these. Remember, we do also have a group coaching call with Group 4610 that meets on Wednesdays. So try to make that one if you can. One thing I want to mention, this, guys, is our book of the month. It's called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. I'm going to post this out to the Facebook group, so don't worry about it. I know we're all God-fearing people in this group. We love the Lord. We love Jesus. And one of the things I'm going to be doing is finding great books for you guys, because I've read thousands of books. I want you to avoid overwhelm, though. Don't get overwhelmed. I'm going to have for you guys to make you better, because a lot of folks. Hold on a second. My audio's going funny. Let me put a window. Believe, can y'all hear me? You can hear me? Okay. A lot of people believe that all you need to do is learn how to sell more real estate. And if you learn how to sell a lot more houses, or you learn how to get rich or make a lot more money, you'll be successful. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. The truth is there's a lot of things in this realm that make up success and make us successful. And learning how to sell tons of real estate is one of them. So that's one of the things I'm going to be teaching you guys. But other things like learning how to unlock your subconscious mind. God gave each and every one of us a conscious mind, and then he gave us an unconscious mind, or a subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind is what affects everything. It affects your breathing. It affects your heart rate. It affects your autonomic system, your nervous system, everything that goes on that's really outside of your control. And the reality is this: what the researchers and scientists have come to discover is that 12% of the things that you do in your life are really governed by the conscious brain. 88% is governed by your subconscious brain. So a lot of you guys are trying to reach success or trying to be successful just using your conscious mind, just using this. And it's not really the way to achieve ultimate success. So again, this is going to be our book of the month, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I'll be reading it with you guys for the fourth time. So we'll have fun with that. That said, I want to just jump into our main topic today. And that is, it's called 0 to 100,000. I promised you guys I'd kind of roadmap for you how to go from 0 to 100,000. So I'm going to jump right into that. I'm going to share my screen. And let's see. There we go. Okay. So let's go right into a PowerPoint on this. And let's start right here. All right. So again, this is our roundtable, what I call our success meeting. So anytime that you guys have a question for Uncle Knolly that can't wait, you guys know you can just hit me up if you do. And in the meantime, you can email me or text me or whatever. But if you have a question that can't wait, just bring it to the roundtable. And a lot of you guys' questions I bring here anyway because they're so good that I want to share them with everybody. So here's what Mentorship Masters includes. I always want to remind you guys of what you're getting. We have the weekly group coaching call with the Exponential Collaboration Group. Make sure that you're that you're participating in that. That's Group 4610's call. And then we have the group coaching roundtable Zoom calls that I'm doing. I'm going to try to do these weekly, probably about 3 times a month is what I'll do these, or as often as you guys need them. Again, I want to avoid the land of overwhelm for you guys. So I know you got a lot on your plate. Some of you guys are just getting into EXP and trying to figure all that stuff out. So I don't want to overwhelm you with tons of meetings that are not nonsensical, I've got the Next Level Insiders Club group coaching video library. So make sure you're taking part in that. Millionaire Success Secrets is something that I'm starting up next month. That'll be monthly videos where I'm teaching you guys what I call millionaire secrets. And actually, every time you talk to me, you're going to be getting that. And then our quarterly exclusive live events. Now, our first event that I've got on the books, I believe it's going to be next month. And I know it's short notice, but I believe it's going to be April 18th. Okay, I'm going to gel this up by sometime next week. But I believe our first Mentorship Masters meeting live will be on April 18th. Now, that's a Thursday. So those of you that need to make travel plans, I'll try to get that information to you by early next week so you can but that's going to be a full day where we're just locked in a room. We're going to have lunch together. We're going to just fellowship together, and we're going to make you better. It's you time. It's you taking time away from your business and just hanging out with me so that I can sow into your business for a full day. And those are real small, intimate groups that we're going to have. So now I want to talk to you guys about this whole vision of Mentorship Masters, which is leaders leading leaders. Okay, leaders leading leaders. And there is a chain of command here. So your sponsor to EXP, remember, if you're in Mentorship Masters, I might be your sponsor, or you may have another sponsor. Another Mentorship Masters member might be your sponsor. So the way the chain of command works is your Mentorship Masters sponsor is your direct, what we call direct mentor for you. Now, you have access to everything in the Mentorship Masters program if I'm not your sponsor. But what I ask you is if you have questions, the chain of command goes like this. Initially, you'll ask all questions to your sponsor unless it's a question for your broker or EXP, KV Core, or SkySlope. So remember, EXP has 375 full-time employees, almost 400 full-time employees, and they're there available for you. So make sure you go into EXP World. If you have a question, jump in there about anything. Like we have one of our members got a virus on her computer or got some kind of situation with her computer. Hopefully it's not a virus. I won't put that on it, but hopefully it's not a virus. It's something that's easily rectifiable. But remember, in Mentorship Masters, I've got an IT person full time, but at EXP, they've got full-time IT people as well. They'll log into your computer and they'll fix it. So there's a lot of resources there. If it's a broker-related question, now a lot of the broker-related questions, those of us in the Mentorship Masters group might be able to help you with. So you might want to come to us first if you want it answered quickly, et cetera. So if your sponsor doesn't know the answer, they'll check back with their sponsor and so on. So it kind of goes up the chain. If you feel like you're not getting the help you need, then you're going to reach out to our success coach, which is Patty Lynn. And Patty's actually just now getting onboarded. So it's going to take her a while. Give her some time to get adjusted and get onboarded. There's another thing that I want to ask you guys, and let me look up this question because I think it's a good one. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so here's a question that I want you guys to ponder. And I'm actually going to read this, and later on, when Patty's making her success calls to you guys, this is kind of the thematic theme that we want you to be thinking about. So here's a question. Imagine that you and I start working together today. We're working together. So here's the deal. You joined Mentorship Masters. Thank you again for joining. Now, you've already started a relationship with me. So here's the question. I'm going to teach you everything I know. And I believe that if you just do what I tell you to do, you say what I tell you to say, inevitably, unequivocally, you'll have success. So I teach you everything I know and do everything that I can to help you get results. Now, imagine that we're sitting in a coffee shop, just you and me are sitting in a coffee shop 1 year from now. And now here's the question. That's the pre-frame. Here's the question. Now, what would have happened in your life, both professionally and personally, for you to feel happy with your progress? So what would have happened in your life personally and professionally for you to feel happy with the progress that you've made a year from now? You and I are sitting down. Because this is actually going to happen. You're going to fly in. We're going to sit down a year from now. And I want you to experience that. This is what we call future pacing, by the way. What would make you believe that Mentorship Masters was the best decision that you ever made? Okay. And I want you to just write down your answer. You don't have to do that now, but later on, just be thinking about this. You and I are sitting in a coffee shop a year from now. We're sitting at a Mentorship Masters meeting. What will it take? You future pace your business, write it out. This is how many listings I have. This is how many deals I've done. This is what my life looks like. This is how many vacations I'm taking. This is, just write out what your life looks like a year from now. That dream life, like if you were to wave a magic wand, what's your life going to look like a year from now under my tutelage, under Mentorship Masters? Write that down, because that's going to give us an idea of what it's going to take for you to succeed. Every one of you has a little bit different track for success, and you all have different goals. But no doubt about it, I want to make sure that you're reaching the goals that you have for yourself. So be thinking of that. And then here's a question. What's your genius? Okay. What's your genius? Think of that. Because we need help, guys. Mentorship Masters is more than just a group. It's more than just a concept. It's a family. We're brothers and sisters, and we're here to help each other. If I wasn't doing Mentorship Masters, I'd actually would have launched my own real estate company. And it's my own real estate company under EXP. But instead of my team members, if you will, paying a 50-50 split, you guys get to have your own split directly with EXP, 80-20. And I get to share with you everything that I know to make you successful, because EXP is going to pay me when you succeed, right? So what's your genius? I know that we have David Speedy. He comes from the IT world. He did over a decade with Microsoft. So he's got some and that world changes every day. So the further he gets away from it, maybe the further he may want to dip his toe in there. But, he's got those computer skills. I've got skills around graphic design, logos, branding, marketing. That's my wheelhouse. That's my skill set. Mentoring and leadership, coaching. Patty Lynn, she comes from, I keep calling you Patty Lynn. I know you're muted, by the way. I can't hear you, but most of you guys, if you have a long name, I'm gonna tend to call you by your long name. Like I might say John David Speedy, and then you'll remind me, nobody calls me that. That's just my mom or dad. So anyway, I want to know what your genius is, because if you have something to contribute to the group, we want to know what that is. None of us are as smart individually as we are smart collectively. Okay. So let's get into the $0 to $100,000 plan. Let's look at that. Now I want you to get this, and I want you to understand it unequivocally. Now, if you guys have any questions or anything, you can put them in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask them. Interrupt me at any time. But I want you to understand this, and this is in my book. Let me see if I have my book handy. I don't know if I have I don't have a copy of it. Oh, here it is. All of you should have a copy of this book right here. All right. Thank you, David. David to the rescue. Thank you. Appreciate it, David. So this is in the book, guys. And if I could teach you one thing because I've done a lot of things wrong in the business, but I've done a lot of things right. And the one thing that I've done right consistently, and by the way, I'm not going to teach you the things I did wrong. I'm going to teach you about them. In other words, hey, I did this and it didn't work, but I'm not going to teach you how to do the wrong thing. I'm going to teach you how to do the stuff that worked and works, not just for me, but all my other friends that are doing tons of business. But the one thing is to time block, guys, time block. And if you show me an agent that says they're not successful, they're not reaching their goals, they're not hitting their numbers, their pipeline isn't full, I'll show you an agent that isn't time blocking. If you time block, if you will commit to time block every single day for 2 hours, okay, just start with 2 hours. You can bump it up to 3 if you want. If you just do that, in other words, the only thing that you're doing for 2 hours or 3 hours a day is lead generation. You're not doing anything else. I guarantee you'll reach the results that you want. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go further than just to tell you the time block, but I'm actually going to give you a daily schedule. Not today, but because success has there's an order to success, believe it. There's an order. You can be doing the right things in the wrong order, and guess what you get? The wrong result. You got to do the right things in the right order to get the results that you want. And so a lot of you guys are like, hey, Knolly, I want to go do this, or I want to go do that. I'm like, wait a minute, slow back. First you learn, and then you earn. You're like, well, I need to earn money now. I understand that. But, getting you to 100,000, then on to 250, and then 500 plus consistently, you can't skip rungs on the ladder, guys. Some of you guys are trying to skip. The ladder has steps to it, okay? And some of you guys are trying to go from step 1 to step 3. Doesn't work that way. Success will never be achieved that way. Slow and steady wins the race every single time. It's time on the task over time. That's what wins it. So let's go ahead and review the numbers, guys. I'm gonna close out of here. Let me see if there's any questions. Let me look at our chat. Okay. Oh, I like this. So yeah, thank you, Lucas. Lucas sent me a private message about where he future paces him to see himself. Oh, can you guys see that? Can y'all see that when I open it up? No? Okay, good. I'm in the chat box and you guys can't see it, so good. Lucas sent me a private message, so thank you, Lucas, for that. And whatever you guys' goals are, I'm going to help you reach those goals, guaranteed. Okay, so all right. Now you can see, you saw that if you paid attention. I've got a plan for 250,000, but we're not gonna discuss that today, guys. We're gonna discuss 0 to 100,000. On our next call, we'll go from 100 to 250. So what I want you to do now is just pay attention to this. Just take a look at this for a minute. Can everybody see this? 106, can y'all see that? Okay, good. So this is just a good old-fashioned spreadsheet. This is going to be your success track spreadsheet-wise, and this is what we call your economic goals. We'll get into your production goals in a minute. But what I'm going to do, guys, it's not going to be this week. It's not going to be next week. It might be the week after, where I'm actually going to give you a success track that says, today's Monday, this is what you're supposed to be doing Monday. Monday, you're focused on sphere of influence. Tuesday, you're working your farm. On Wednesday's niche day, you're going to be working on your niche, okay? And it's going to break out for you what you should be doing and when you should be doing it. I usually carve out from 9 to 11 every single day. Now, today I had somewhere to be pretty early. So I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning and I did my time block from 6:15 to 8:15, okay? I never negate to time block, guys. I do it every single day, okay? And that's time blocking for lead generation. Now, let's look at the economic goals. So your gross commission, if you want to net 100,000 in your bank account, I've got to get you making 116,000 in GCI, which is gross commission income basically. And your cap paid into EXP is 16,000. That's going to net you 100,000. Now let's look at the numbers. Your average commission, if your average commission is 3%, that's probably not realistic for some of you. In some places, like in a lot of what they do in California, we've got agents there. By the way, we've got agents now. Mentorship Masters has agents in 12 different states. Yay! So we got Hawaii, we've got North Carolina, we've got Texas, we've got Florida, we've got Alabama, California. It goes on and on. So I'm very excited about that. But in California, one of the things they do, they do a lopsided commission. So typically the listing side gets 3.5%. And the buyer side gets 2.5%. That's great if you're a listing agent, which is what I'm really teaching you guys. If you want to focus on buyers, I'm okay with that, but I'm going to be teaching you more from the perspective of sellers because you can do a lot more volume in less time. So your average commission, your average sale price, and your average commission earned goes in here. Now, the only thing, I'm going to give you guys a copy of this spreadsheet, by the way. And the only thing that you have to change is numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Those are the only variables that you have to change. When you change those variables, everything else on the spreadsheet is going to change for you. So let's say, for example, and I'll just go through this real quick to show you how to do it. And then I'll take any questions you guys have around this. So let's say you're in a place where, let's say your average commission is 2.8%. And I have a whole chapter on how to know your numbers. The way you know your average commission is you just take your last 10 sales and you look at the commission that you had on those last 10, divide that by 10, and that's your average commission that you earn. Your average sale price, do the same thing, just add up the last 10 sales. Now, each one of you can give yourself a raise just by purposing to work with sellers at a higher price range. You can give yourself a raise just by doing that. You know, I've got a couple deals going right now. Actually, David Speedy and I have a deal going right now. That deal is 600, almost 700,000. And I've got another deal going for like 200,000. And I can tell you that it's a whole lot more work, the $200,000 deal versus the $700,000 deal. If you would just decide to work in a higher price range, not only will you give yourself a raise, but you'll also do less work, I guarantee. Because when you're talking to clients in the higher price ranges, you don't have to repeat yourself so often. They understand what you're saying. You don't have to bring your language down to where they can kind of understand it. I tell you, this $200,000 deal I've got, I'm talking to the sellers almost every other day about very basic things, you know, things that are in my book, and they just, anyway, trust me, it's easier to do a higher dollar deal than it is a lower dollar. Just had a lunch with a friend of mine a couple weeks ago, and he was on his way to an $8 million listing, you know, and we were just both laughing about how easy those big listings are to do. So, okay, so, you know, they're not easy to get, but they're easy to do once you get them, put it that way. By the way, they're easier to get once you become well known. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do that as well. So your average sale price, let's say your average sale price is $250. Okay. Now let's say you're in California. Your average sale price is could be, you know, 600,000, 700,000 or more. Now what's actually changing? So here's number one. That's not going to change. That's your cap, 16,000. Number two, you don't need to change that because that's just, now if you want to net more, let's say you want to net 150,000, okay? Then all these numbers are going to change for you. So in other words, I put in calculations. By the way, I'm a whiz with Excel. Not bragging, I'm just saying if any of you guys need help with Excel, I had a guy sit down and teach me Excel when I was in my 20s. And I've been using it for 20 plus years. And actually I've been working with databases since I was probably 15. But I got really good at doing, you know, formulas and things like this. And this is a basic one. These formulas are actually, some of these formulas do get a little complex. So you don't want to change anything that doesn't have a red number out here. Like you don't want to change any of these numbers because these numbers will auto-populate based on the formulas that I've already calculated into the spreadsheet. So don't, and if you mess it up and you need another fresh copy of it, just go to Mentorship Masters. I'm going to post it there. You'll download it there. So again, I think you guys can understand this. So these numbers up here, depending on, let's go back to 100,000. Depending on your average commission earned and your average sale price, that's going to tell you what your production goals are. And I can tell you this, guys, pay attention. When it comes to your production goals, it all boils down to the appointments that you go on, period. It's all about appointments, guys. It's all about appointments. You say, well, Knolly, how do I get all these appointments? Well, you know, I'm going to be teaching you how to do that. And I do have 5 chapters, chapters 6 through 10 in here. Make sure you go back and review that as well. But so on this for this person right here, if their average sale price is 250, they're going to have to go on. I'm going to go straight to the appointments, which is number 5. If 80% of your appointments convert, so that means that eight times out of 10, when you sit down with a seller, they list with you. Okay. Again, you can apply this to buyers, but I'm always thinking sellers. Now, when I was actively going out and doing 100 plus listings a year, I did 90+% of the people that I sat down with listed with me, no doubt about it. A lot of that, guys, a lot of people say, well, what was it about? You know, how did it happen? Well, you have a frame of mind. You'll learn a lot of this in the power of your subconscious mind, how God wired our brains. But a lot of this is your energy. When you walk into a listing appointment and you know you have it, you know you're going to do right by that client, and you know that you're an agent that they can trust. In other words, you have a high level of trust and faith in yourself because you've built that up through study. If you don't have the experience, through study, and then eventually through experience. You know, when I first got in the business, I had to build it up through study. In other words, I had to study everything out there to where I basically overlearned the business. I learned more than I needed to. But for me, being my personality profile, it was necessary. And when I went on an appointment, I knew that there was nobody else that could do a better job with that listing than I could. Absolutely impossible. Never happen. And so I could go up on a listing with anybody. I remember many times I'd go up against my own broker when I was at Remax, and I'd get the listing. And that's what helped me get to the number 7 in the city of Austin out of 9,800 agents. People ask me, how'd you get to it? And guys, I really don't teach this stuff on YouTube. I don't teach people that it's confidence that really gets you the deal, but that's really what it is. I don't know how to say it. I mean, you absolutely don't need a pre-listing package. The only reason I have one is to save time and to speed up the process. You know, a pre-listing, if you're good without a pre-listing package, you'll be on fire with one, okay? So it just makes your job a lot easier. But so your conversion rate down here on appointments, if you can get that up, some people have a 50% when they start working with me, and I help to get them up to a 70, 80, eventually to a 90% conversion rate. If you have a 50% conversion rate, there's some things we need to work on, okay? In other words, you sit down and only half of the people convert, then there's some big thing. You really want that number to be 80% or above, okay? Now your conversion rate on closings, that has to do with the number of listings that you get, how many of those actually sell. You know, we had a call on it last week about pricing your listing. And you guys know just as well as I do that pricing is what sells listings, period. Pricing is all that sells. I mean, there's actually 4 things that sell a listing, but price is really the number 1 key thing. You know, location is another thing, but location you can't change, right? Another thing is the condition of the property. You know, the property's in better condition, but guess what? Price can offset that. If the property's in poor condition, just price it lower and you still sell it. So again, all you're going to have to change is number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6, and all the other information will fill in for you. So for this person, they would have to go on, they would have to take 18 listings, okay? That would be their goal. And they would have to go on 23 listing appointments to take 18 listings. And that means they'd have to do 1.9 appointments a month, 1.9 appointments a month. So about 2 appointments a month, and they'll be able to do $100,000, okay? So again, everything else, once you know your numbers, the rest of these numbers are pretty self-explanatory. Once you know your numbers, it all comes back to, okay, how many appointments do I need to get on to go on this month? And how am I going to get those appointments? It's that simple. You know, how many do I need to go on? How am I going to get them? Okay. And really, it's going to be the 3 lead buckets. It's going to be your sphere of influence, your farm, and your niche, and other sources, which we'll talk about in a minute. Are there any questions about this? Let me look in my chat here. I think I got a question here. Lucas is asking if I think the price can be negotiated this spring. He has a client that thinks 225. Oh, you're talking about working with a buyer. So his buyer thinks that if the house is 225, they think they're going to be able to negotiate it to 200. I don't know where they got that. So all that can be handily defeated with data. Okay. One thing that people can't argue with, guys, is data. So in other words, Lucas has a buyer that's looking at houses that are 225,000, and they want to negotiate those houses down to 200,000. They're living outside the realm of reality. Okay. And reality doesn't, now, if you're in a different market, if you're not in Austin, Texas, that's not going to fly. So all you have to do, Lucas, is show them, here's all the previous sales in this neighborhood. Here's how long it took them to sell. This is what they listed for. This is what they sold for. So all of these homes are selling for within X percent of list price. And then once you do that, with any buyer that I have, I give them a market analysis. And then I strongly advise them to, and I tell them, I say, you know, I don't have really a dog in that fight. I don't have a personal opinion when it comes to value. I don't need to, because the market speaks very loudly, and the market tells you what values are. Now, if a client wants to make an offer that's less than you know they should be making, then you're obligated to present that offer. But again, at some point they have to get into reality, and that's called managing the client. A lot of you guys are doing a poor job of managing your client, and a lot of you guys do a good job of it. I'm really good at managing my client. I don't let my clients get out of hand. I'll reel them in real quick, and I sit down with them and say, hey, wait a minute. We need to get, because I don't want you, it's not what I want, but the reality is, pricing is, because sometimes they'll get upset with you that you're telling them to bid full price. It's like, look, here's what the market's saying. Always put it to the market. Don't ever tell a client what you think. Well, I think this, or my thoughts are this, or no. Because then they'll be blaming it on you. You always speak to a client and you tell the client, this is what the market says. This is what the market is saying. Well, buyers have spoken up, and here's what they say, okay? Because we don't really have an opinion when it comes to that. But that's a great question, Lucas. Oh, I did it again, Lucas, sorry. I always want to call him Lewis because I have two Lewises in my life. One of them I work with, and the other one's a good friend of mine. Okay, but I do have a next door neighbor named Lucas, so I should be able to remember Lucas. All right, so I want to show you guys one more thing. Were there any other questions? You guys can unmute yourself if you have any other questions around this. Pretty easy, right? Pretty straightforward, right? Okay, so the other thing is your database potential. Okay, this comes right out of Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And if you look at your database potential, what Gary taught in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent is that if you properly market to your database, for 1 out of every 12 people in there, you should get a referral. So what that says is that if I have 200 people in my database, I should be able to squeeze 17 sales out of that database, which means that I should be able to do 116,000 in sales based on that, okay? So again, you always want to be growing your database. Your database should grow every single day. If you could do nothing else but add 2 or 3 names a day to your database, you'd be doing really well. And then you market to your database. Now, it doesn't mean that 1 out of 12 people will buy or sell. Theoretically, it should mean that, because most people move every 6-8 years. People are moving even sooner now. So theoretically, if you've got 10 people in your database, 1 of those is going to move this year, okay? So it could be that direct person, or it could be someone that they refer you to. And if you market to your database correctly, you're going to be able to get your database to squeeze out a lot more referrals for you than what you're currently getting, okay? But there's another thing I want to show you guys. What was it? Oh, I know what it is. It's a question that I got in from one of our Mentorship Masters members. And I'm going to find the question that I'm going to, okay, here it is. So here's the Mentorship Masters member. I'm not going to name, sometimes you guys want me to name your name and sometimes you don't. And that's cool either way. So I won't name the name here, but they asked me this question. Good morning, how are you doing? I believe I told you that I have a monthly Zillow account. It's costing me $2,100 a month. $2,100. I'm in the wrong business, right? $2,100 a month. I have not closed any leads from that since November 2018. All the recent leads are for land or mobile homes, okay? My subscription ends on the 13th of this month. I'm leaning toward canceling, okay? I've learned that KV Core has some good tools. What are your thoughts? Okay, so my thought is absolutely cancel, okay? Cancel, clear. Here's my thoughts on this, guys. Unless you're doing everything that I teach you to do, let me preface it with this. I went years and years and years and years without ever paying for any leads, okay? I'm not against paying for leads, guys. If you want to pay for leads, I'm not against that. But I went for years and years without doing it by working the 3 buckets. You guys know what I'm talking about. I teach about the 3 buckets right in here. And if you're not doing everything that I teach around the 3 buckets, in other words, you're not hijacking your sphere of influence for everything they've got. You're not working on your sphere of influence, your niche. If you don't have a rockin' niche, whatever your niche might be, and if you don't have a farm already up and running, paid for by your sponsors, by the way, if you don't already have all that rocking, my thing is, why do anything else? Why not just focus on those things and get those things rocking, humming, and then if you want to do more, why not? I mean, like when my team, there was a point when my team had 127 listings, okay, either active or under contract, 127. And people would always tell me, I want more leads, Knolly, I want more leads, more leads, more leads. And I would ask them in my classes, it just so happened that one week we got 21 listings. We took 21 listings in 1 week. And I ask people all the time, what would happen to your business if you took 21 listings in 1 week? Most of your business would implode. You go nuts, okay? What happened in our business was absolutely nothing. We were able to just keep, because we had a well-run oiled machine, a smooth system, we were able to run our business the same way we always had done it. We took 21 listings in 1 week and it was no problem to handle. So a lot of you guys have, now I do get it that you need business. And some of you are desperate enough to go out and pay for business. Now, if you're going to pay for leads, there is a source that KV Core has, and I'm going to share that with you. But I think we got some questions here. Okay, so what if you are new to the area? What would you do in the business? That's one of the questions I have. Here's what I'm going to tell you guys. And again, I'm going to refer back to my book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Now, this book is available by audio, so you guys should be listening to this on your way back and forth to your meetings, et cetera, when you're working out at the gym or at your home, around your house, whatever. I'll give you a link to the audio book and the physical book, but you can parachute me. That's Peterson asking. Guys, you can parachute me into any town, any city in the United States of America. You can strip away all my YouTube videos. You can give me a brand new identity like I never existed, so I won't have the advantage of being Knolly Williams. And I guarantee you, within 1, 2, or 3 months, not only will I have about 12 to 15 listings, but I will be on my way within 1 year of being one of the top 10 agents in that market. I don't even have to know a single soul in that city. Okay. Now, how does that happen? Number one, you have to have confidence, faith, and belief that that's what, like, did God put you in this business? Are you supposed to be here? Yes. Is 18 listings a year too much to ask? Absolutely not. Why do I know that? Because all you have to do is look at how many deals closed in your MLS last year, and then you times that by 2, and that gives you the number of transactions that are happening in your local market. And you mean to tell me you can't do 20? I mean, I never had a year where I did 20 deals, not even my first year. My first year, I did like almost 50 deals. And every year after that, after my second year, I did over 100 deals a year. So I've never had a year where I did 20 deals. I've never had it, or I've only had 1 year where I did less than 50. Even last year, when I worked about 3 hours a week in real estate, I did 17 deals. Okay. I worked 3 hours a week in real estate. I'm retired. So, and that's the reason why I tell you guys, even when you retire, you never want to give up your real estate license, because you're going to have, you know, family members and people that it's easy. I mean, it's like easy money, right? So yeah, if you're brand new in an area, there's going to be some things that you need to do. The first thing I would do if I was brand new in an area is, guess what I would do? I would grab myself this puppy right here. That's called an iPhone, guys. You know, you probably have one in your pocket. And I would go to every establishment in my area. You can have an Android. I'm not hating on those Android users. But I would go to every place in my establishment that was around my farm. First, I would establish a farm. And then I would go to every area around there that's a restaurant. And I would just interview them. And hey, guys, today we're at Ted's Taco Shop. Ted, what makes your tacos so special? Okay. And I say, hey, guys, I'm Peterson Saki. I'm your man about town. You guys know me. I'm the XYZ realtor. And I'm here to, you know, this is what I do. But today we're at Ted's Taco Shop and we're interviewing Ted, the owner. Okay. I would just do stuff like that. I would go to local hospitals, local, those little minor emergency clinics, anywhere. I would make myself visible as the man about town, the person about town, that's just out there doing it, right? And I would never even refer to myself as new to an area. Like nobody would ever ask me how long I've been in the area. First thing you want to do, get a map of your whole area. Like you're new in that area. Get you a map and circle that area. This is going to be good for you, David, because you're moving to another area soon. So you get a map of that area that you want to dominate, and you just study that map. Put it on your iPad. That's what I did. I would put Austin, Texas on my iPad, and I would just study it. Like I wasn't driving around or anything. I mean, you can do that on Street View, right? And I would sometimes I would go to Street View and say, I wonder what that street looks like. And I would look at it, zoom back out, and I'm just studying the market. I'm dominating. See, the scripture says in Genesis, God gave us dominion over the earth. That's what the scripture says. He gave us dominion over the earth. Now, Adam and Eve, they gave the dominion up when in the garden. Remember, in the Garden of Eden, they gave the dominion back up to the enemy. But when Christ came, Christ reclaimed the dominion for mankind when he resurrected. So the reality is, don't be moping around, well, I'm new to a city. Nobody knows me. I can't. No, I'm where God sent me. I'm about to take this. I'm claiming it. This is my city. And you study that. Spend about an hour every single day studying your city, every street, every corner, every area. Where do you want to sell real estate? Where do you want to be? Start going in and meeting those restaurant owners, meeting those establishments, the donut shops, the coffee shops. Get yourself known in that area. And then when you're around town, everybody's like, man, Peterson, everybody knows Peterson. Well, oh, you're new here? What do you mean you're new? Within 1 month, not a single person in your area that you want to dominate, I'm talking about a 5 square mile radius or even a 1 square mile. Nobody in that area should know that you're new, okay? There's a lot that we can speak on this, guys, and when we have our meetings where you guys fly in, you know, next month, we'll sit down. We'll spend some real time on this. I know we have a short call today. It's no more than an hour, but it's a great question. I get this question all the time. Okay, so the next one is, do I have an opinion on the Make It Rain? I think that Make It Rain, if you want to spend money, David's asking me that. That's actually what I was going to go show you guys next, is if you're going to spend money, use Make It Rain, guys. It's available to us through EXP, and it's at the most $500 a month. And then there's another one. Okay, yeah, what to do. So let me just show you, for those of you that don't know about the Make It Rain, let me just show you that real quick. Let me see. So on your EXP dashboard, you'll notice right here in this area, there's a thing called Make It Rain. Now, I haven't used this, but my guys at Group 4610 that are doing 400 plus deals a year, I just love saying that. I never did 400 deals a year, so I like bragging on them. But they're doing over 400 deals a year, and they swear by this system. It's called Making It Rain, and they have 3 plans. They have a $100 a month plan. They have a $250 a month plan, and they have a $500 plan. and they promise you either 5 to 8 leads, 15 to 25 leads, or 25 to 40 leads. So if you're going to spend money on leads, why not pimp out your KV Core website? I mean, make it look nice, and then stack it with this making it rain. That's what I would recommend you do if you're going to spend money on leads, just during the interim. Because I know as you guys are learning a lot of this stuff, you want to start making it rain now. I'm not gonna hate you for doing that, but eventually, just trust me. The goal of all marketing guys, and I'm a marketer from way back. You might call me old school, but when you read books like the 22 Immutable Laws of Branding or the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing by Al Ries, you'll learn things like that. The goal of all marketing. By the way, does anybody know what the goal of all marketing is? Does anybody know that? The goal of all marketing, you old marketers. The goal of all marketing is to get to a point where you never have to market again. And the reality is we never get to a place where we don't have to market again, but that's the theory behind the goal of marketing. I'm always marketing myself, but one of the things that you guys know I like to ask people is, how'd you hear about me? And when I ask people how they heard about me, some people know, but very few do. Like most of them, when I talk, and I always ask them, how'd you hear about me? Because I want to know what's being effective. How are they hearing about me? Where do they know me from? But most people don't know how they heard about me. They're like, well, I don't remember. And that's what you want. Like in your local community, people should not even be able to remember how they heard about you. Like, Peterson, how did I first hear about you? I can't even remember. Like, you're everywhere, and that's what they would. I actually had a website called alloveraustin.com. I don't use it anymore, but I branded myself like I'm the man about town. Like if it's hot, I'm there. Okay, I think we have another question here, and I think we're just about at our time. The question is, do the make it rain leads tend to mostly be buyers? And I would guess that they do. When I first got started in real estate and I wanted to generate seller leads, all of my marketing was generated around thinking about selling your home. Okay, and that's the only question I would ask people. So on all my marketing, like my postcards and everything like that, that was the tagline: thinking about selling your home? ? And then it would say list with Knolly with an exclamation point. So I did do marketing. I mean, back in the day, I had billboards, I had newsletters that we would email out. Now it's all about Facebook ads. I mean, if you're gonna, let me give you an example of how you should be marketing. So let's say you take a listing, you got one listing, like David, you have that listing on San Marcos. Okay. So if back in the day, me having a listing like that, just a few years ago when I was out there, what I would do is I would do what we call circle prospecting. Now, what circle prospecting is if I got a new listing at 696 San Marcos Street, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to every single house around that listing, okay? And I'm going to have, remember when I said I don't do cold calling or door knocking? Well, this was the exception. When I had a reason to door knock or to call, whenever I have a reason, then I'll do it all day long, and so my reason was like, hey, I just listed the house down here at 696, and I'm just wondering, and I would go to every house on that block. I'm just wondering if you're, either do you know anybody that's looking to move in the area? That was the first question I would ask them. Who do you know that's looking to move in this area? Because this is a chance for you to pick your neighbor. And I want to help you. I know you want good people. It's a great neighborhood, and I know you want to keep it that way. So you get to pick your neighbor. So who do you know that's looking? The Joneses, they just trusted me with the sale of their house, and I told them I would ask everybody on the block who they knew that was looking to move in the area. Now, most of the time they're not going to know anybody, but right away they're thinking, man, this guy's pretty aggressive. He's canvassing the neighborhood, and they didn't hang up they didn't shut the door on me. Because they're excited, like they want to be involved. It's like, hey, how would you like a chance to pick who your neighbors are? Oh, well, yeah, I'd love that chance. Well, let me tell you, I just listed this house down the street. So that was the first time I would meet with them. Then when I got it under contract, you go back to the house, all the houses on that street and around there, You say, hey, I got this house under contract and I've got buyers that are calling me about this house. Who do you know? You know anybody that's looking to sell? Are there any other neighbors here that are looking to sell? Because I've got buyers that are ready to buy. So by doing that, guys, if you just do, and then when it closes, you do the same thing. You go to about 50, 60, 70 houses around there. By doing that, and then if you have the open houses as events like I teach, you'll pick up at least one listing, okay? So for every listing you get, you're gonna pick up another listing, okay? And then if you work those listings correctly, meaning that you market them like crazy, you say, well, Knolly, marketing the listing doesn't really generate buyers. I mean, the buyers are generated online. Like, why would I spend all my money marketing the listing? Well, the reason you spend money marketing the listing is to generate more buyer leads. That's it. I mean, you're going to sell the house. What sells the house? You basically take good photographs, you write it up well, okay? You put it at a good price, it's going to sell. But then you market the heck out of it, okay, to generate those leads, the buyer leads. So the more listings you have, so for me, now obviously if you don't have if you don't have a listing, then you can't do that. And that's why all the stuff that I teach you is going to go toward getting you your first few listings. But once you get a couple listings, guys, it's not hard to piggyback those and generate more listings from the listings you already have, if that makes sense. I like David Speedy says other sources of leads are referral exchange. Yeah, I just picked up a referral yesterday. And that's how he got, I see, referral exchange. You'll have to post that for us, David. That's how he got the listing that we're working on together. For next month, our day that we're going to spend together is going to be on the 18th. That's on Thursday, okay? And then that Friday, I have a half-day event. David's asking when we're going to get together next month for our Mentorship Masters huddle, where we basically it's just you guys and me, and there'll probably only be about 10 of us in the room, because right now there's about 18 Mentorship Masters members. And if half of you guys make it to the meeting, there'll be about 10 of us, and it's a real good time for us to drill deep, to deep down. Peterson's asking if you guys have access to the scripts. 95 of my best scripts are right here in this book. And I have others. I have other scripts out there as well that I'll start publishing. So you guys will have access to this. One of the things that Patty's going to do for us is she's going to take the Word version or the PDF version of this book, and she's going to make us a book of scripts. And these are going to be scripts that you guys are going to be able to edit, like customize. They'll be in Word, format. So all 95 scripts that I have in here, I'm going to get you guys a Word document that has all those scripts in it to where you can just tweak them for your market. And then you'll have your own book of scripts. Guys, I can't overemphasize how important it is to know your scripts, That's a whole nother track. We'll do a lot of training around that as well. But today, again, I'm just going to reiterate what I really wanted you guys to understand and to get was, let me close this chat. This whole 0 to 100,000. And I say it, it's not difficult, guys. I want you to have a well-oiled machine. If you're doing 18 deals a year, you should not be working more than 20 hours a week, okay? Let me say it again. If you're making $100,000 in this business, you should not be working more than 20 hours a week. 20 hours a week to make that 100,000. And you should be taking your 4 to 5 vacations a year. That's what you should be doing. And I'm going to show you more of how to do it. It's not easier said than done, but there's a way to do that. And I'm going to be sharing that with you guys on subsequent calls. I think there's another question out here. David Speedy says he uses referral exchange, and you don't pay for referral exchange until you close on the deal. It's just like any other referral. I love that. That's great. That's perfect. By the way, make sure that you guys are completing all your information on, let me go back out to it. on your EXP profile, make sure that you've got all your information there, because if you don't, you're not going to be getting the referrals that you should be getting from that. All right, any last questions? I know you guys got work to do. Has it been good? Thumbs up? All right, all right. Go back and listen